Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we're helping heal with daily videos. We're going to talk about the Hoover and the New Supply today. So basically, have you ever noticed that they always want you as soon as you're slipping away, as soon as you've started to move on, they start coming back in your life. It's almost like they let the dust settle. You kind of back off, whether you went no contact or just stopped reaching out to them. So when do you vacuum? The Hoover, that's how it was named, after the Hoover vacuum cleaner. After the dust settles, that's when you vacuum. That's when they're going to suck you back in, get things all clean and tidy again. And they might have a new supply, and a lot of us are curious, what's going on in that situation. And I'll tell you what, if you are trying to get back with your narcissist, by giving your narcissist attention, it's actually going to make the new supply and your narc a little closer, because let's say it's a guy, he's going to start love bombing to cover up his actions. So his new supply is going to reap the benefits, is going to think how wonderful he is, going to seem like a really solid relationship for them. It is all fake, but the new supply doesn't realize that. They just think like they're so adored and so loved and cherished. They're going to start reciprocating. And once they do that, then the narc, enjoys it more, and starts devaluing you a little bit more. And the Hoover comes every time that you get on with your life. A lot of times it's because you have more self-confidence, a little bit of jealousy. Maybe you're dating somebody else, whether you're investing in things. Now that you're not as depressed, maybe you're, I don't know, making a garden or redecorating or traveling. You're just getting on with your life. And that's kind of scary to them, because no matter how far back in the garage you are, the harem garage, that's still their possession. They still see you as a possession, even though they discarded you or you discarded them. There's no closure. They will not cut ties 100%. And they do that to make sure that they have the source of supply if they ever need it. They treat you like crap, because we've always been there. We've never given up. My ex is like, yeah, right, you're not going to give up. And as soon as I was like, yeah, it was kind of like, oh, all right. And they start trying again. It's almost like they only love us when we're about to leave. And that's part of the reason that they treat us the way that they do. It's almost like that's their comfort level. Like they have a fear of abandonment. So they want us to fight to say you're not going to be abandoned. So when they push our buttons, they do it on purpose, because they want our reaction of saying, I'm not going to leave you. So they need to feel that I'm not going to leave you. So they'll push it and push it and push it. And a lot of times, they don't get back on track until they are this close to losing us. And once they have lost us, they start to freak out a little bit. That's why you get the Hoovers. So they're doing their own thing. They do move on with that new supply. They're love bombing. They think everything's amazing. They're trying, just like us, they want a relationship. Their reasonings are different than ours, but they still want to be loved, just like we want to be loved. Do they want to love somebody? No, they want to be loved. So we want to love somebody, and we also want to be loved in return. But once we start moving on, they start freaking out. They want to test the waters to make sure that we're still going to be there if they need us. So they'll reach out, contact us. They'll often get angry if we don't respond to them. Then they start wondering what's going on. Like, why do you not think I'm amazing? They don't apologize for the things that they've done. If they do, it's superficial. Just for that temporary fuel fix, that little ego stroke. And as they continue on with this new supply, they're going to take it for granted. They're going to love bomb in the beginning because there's no baggage. Things seem great. Why not do a bunch of new activities? But then just the way that they talk is going to start to devalue the person. They're going to start to question their reality. It's just going to happen. And so they're going to want to try to work things out, or just say, please don't talk to me like that. You cannot say certain things to a narcissist. You cannot make them feel anything less than perfect. And if you even say, don't talk to me that way, it's like, oh, you don't like the way I talk. I can't talk the way I want. Everything is about them. Like it's so hardcore about them. And it just starts to destroy uh, the empathetic person. And as that goes on, you start to seem needy because you do have needs. And then once you seem needy, you start seeming annoying, that nothing's ever good enough. And then they start feeling like they're a piece of crap instead of backing off and changing. So self-aware narcissists try to change often, um, but they're still who they are. Their soul, their heart is still the same. Their thought process are still the same. They might like try to stop and readjust, but that's very uncomfortable for them. And then they miss out on that supply that they need. They need to be argumentative. They need to talk down to us. They need us to stroke their egos. They need us to prove we're not going to leave. And just being there, they don't like the comfort. They don't like the comfort because it doesn't say to them, I'm not going to leave. It just means that we're going through life, things are good, but they need affirmations that they're rock solid no matter what they do. No matter what they do. It's almost like a longing from their childhood to have that maternal or paternal love where no matter what they do, because babies, they cry, they get stinky, they throw up, but they're always loved, and not always, but I'm trying to say, they're just cared for. Their needs are attended to. The kid breaks something in a normal household, parents are understanding as long as it wasn't on purpose, and so the narcissist just throws their little temper tantrums. They try to push their luck. They push our buttons just to kind of have us reaffirm we're not leaving. They're uncomfortable when it's just nice and calm. That's why they throw us off balance. That's why, they gaslight us and keep us confused. And, they hate that we talk to them, but they also see that we're trying to talk to them, which is a mess because it's us saying we care about you. And the more they keep us off balance, the more we're going to try to talk to them. And even though it annoys them, it still shows them that we care. So that's the supply that it starts leaning towards. And that's what they're starting to become accustomed to. If you're in a narcissistic relationship, it will always leave you feeling empty, confused. The only way it works is if you let them have total control. You cannot ever act insecure or needy or confused. You just have to take everything at face value and just live in a fantasy world because they will not change. They will not change. And as they progress on with the new supply, they're not any happier. They're not any happier. They're doing a distraction, which they'll take it for as long as it feeds their needs. Just like I did something on, roller coasters. Like you can go on a roller coaster and it's super exciting. Some people can tolerate, going 10 times in a row. Others are like, I am off this. That was great, but I'm not doing more than 2 times in a row. So that's going to depend on your narcissist, how long their relationship will last with the new supply is how much of a thrill seek and how much effort or time they want to put into it. When it starts to get off balance, just like it did with you, just like it probably did with their previous ex or exes. And if you take note of the smear campaigns, how they talked about their exes, that's how they're going to treat their new supply. Whatever they said about the exes is how they're going to treat the new supply. It's just a matter of time. Never know if it's going to be 5, 10, 20 years. Sometimes their need might not even be the person might not fulfill them sexually, so they might go cheat. They might just want the status, so they'll stay for the status no matter how bad things are, because the status is more important than leaving and finding somebody who would meet their true needs. Um, so it will fall apart. Will they stay together? That's up to the dynamics of the new supply in them. How much the new supply is willing to tolerate. How much did you tolerate? How many years were you in this relationship? I know I did, what was it, 7 years? And then the next one was almost 18, almost 18. So, think about this, Hoover. It will happen. And just be prepared for it. How you're going to react. Are you going to stay no contact? Are you going to protect all the progress that you've made? That's why no contact does work. And it's so ironic that when you give up, that's when they come back. And it's almost instantaneously a lot of times, not always, but as soon as they see, they'll either try to destroy it because of their anger. They might be jealous, or they might still see you as a possession to where nobody else can have you. They don't necessarily even want you back. They just want you in that garage. And if you're tied up with somebody new or busy doing a work, progressing in life, they will try to destroy your life a lot of times. Or whether it's getting you fired or destroying your new relationship or smearing you. A lot of times that's where these flying monkeys come in. They have these little agents spying on you, or increasing the smear campaign to spread the seed of destruction in your life. So just be aware, the Hoover will come as soon as the dust settles. Just like when you vacuum when the dust settles and it's time to clean up. And just going through the relationship, if you notice seriously that they can argue and argue, and as soon as you've about had it, and are about to leave, that's when they change. They don't change no matter how much you argue or no matter how much you try to discuss without arguing. And they will still not take accountability. If they do, listen to how they say it. Is it truly heartfelt, or like, yeah, whatever, okay, it was my fault? But do they really mean it? Like, did they say, you're right, I did this and I should do this different and I promise? Pay attention to their words. They project onto us what will happen. And in the past, they are letting us know what's going to happen with the new supply. So just remember when you started out, how things were. And if they had previous relationships, it was probably good. Usually people don't end up with somebody if it's bad. And then listen to the things that they said about the ex, what they've said about you. Are we all crazy? I was known as blonde monster #1, and then he moved on. She was blonde monster #2. We were both good people. I'm actually friends with her now. She is a good-hearted person. So both of us are crazy. Like, you dated us, got engaged to me, and if we were that crazy, like, why did you want to marry me? Why were you with this other one for years? And that was another situation. They lie, they move on. They often will keep two at the same time, maybe more. They can't be honest. It's all about their needs. They don't care if it's going to hurt you. They don't care if it's breaking your agreement. They will just do whatever for their needs. If you tell them that, if they're with somebody else, you don't want to be physical with them, they'll lie about it. I had even extremely said, I do not want that. I do not consent to it. I know it's not technically a rape, but I will look at it as a rape because I am telling you, I do not consent to that. They don't care. They don't care. They'll lie. And if you listen to the way that they talk, they I just lost my train of thought as far as the little key words that so I'm this little uppity up where there's no way I would ever be with two people, okay, at the same time. And you know same year, same whatever. When you're in a relationship, I'm very, very monogamous and faithful. But then they turned it around on me, like, have you been with anybody? You've talked about your neighbors. And I'm like, they're my neighbors. So like I talk to them. They're 20 years younger than me. And you just say a guy's name and all of a sudden now what? Uh, and it's kind of like, oh, why are you asking me that? Because this is like 15, 6, no, what was it? 17 years into the relationship. No, 16 years into the relationship. Now you're questioning, and I'm still the same person. It's like something's up. Like there are red flags. Like, why is this out of the blue? Like you've never asked me that after all these years. And it's kind of like, yep, something just happened. And you know, just like I had mentioned in another video where it was like, of course I'll do right by you. Why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? That's kind of normally people don't talk that way. There's little traits in the way people lie, the way they develop their sentence structures that if you can kind of tune your skills in to see when people lie to you, be really aware of red flags, whether it's to get back with your narc or to move on. A lot of times they'll tell on themselves. They'll say certain things, and often they can be honest at times, but when they are honest, it's like a tool. It's not to come forward and be honest for the sake of being honest. They will come forward to make you feel sorry for them or to be like, oh, they were so honest. So if they were that honest, of course they would be honest with me. Like that was really hard for them to tell me that. So you think that they're this honest person, and the past is the past. So they think it's like a little safe mode. Um, to build trust. Like I gotta say, I can't tell her I'm all perfect or she'll think that, it's this facade. So I'm gonna say a couple things. But it's a tool. And understanding narcissism is so crazy. And the way that they destroy us, it's bit by bit by bit. So if you're expecting a Hoover, if it was a long-term relationship, just wait, it will happen. Most of the time, not always, but don't wait around for it. Just keep building yourself up. If you're craving that Hoover, it's going to happen when you get on with your life. If you're just trying to heal, you're just getting on with your life. So regardless of what your intent is or what you're hoping for, the more you heal, the more you move forward. But it's really up to you if you really want to take that step back. Once you get your life in order, do you accept that Hoover? A lot of us want closure. So you might have the person talk to you, and you often won't get the answers that you need. If you're trying to talk to get back together, maybe it'll be for a little while, but it's all going to be BS. And they're going to start to like resent you for asking, for having that talk, for making them appease you, for making them, you know, future fake, for making them have to be outside their comfort zone. They just want to answer things in a gaslighting type way. That's their protection. And that leaves us unsettled. Like that's not really acceptable. Like you can't process your life when they give you confusion. And out of respect, they should just be honest, and they don't know how to. Like they lie about the simplest things. It's ingrained in them. It's just like, you bump somebody and you're like, oh, sorry. Like, did you process that? Like it was a habit. Oh, sorry. Because it's a habit. That's what we learned. We learned to say it in the beginning. It took effort to remember to do that when we were, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years old. But they're used to lying. It's just easier, and, do they believe their lies? Sometimes they talk about that they can kind of black out or have false memories. And so they might remember certain parts of it, but they put together what they think would have happened, and that becomes their reality. So even communicating with them, having a life with them, they don't remember exactly the right way. Sometimes they get angry over things that never even happened. And that's hard. You want to defend yourself, and then you're questioning them. So then they devalue you. It's just a vicious cycle that the only way is if you let them live this little fantasy life, and they'll tell you what the fantasy is. If you go outside that fantasy, they'll groom you back into doing things the way they wanted. They'll give you the silent treatment. So it's almost like punishing you to where now you better act the way they expect you to act, or they're not going to give you any attention. And that is the coldest thing you can do to somebody. They don't let you, the whole live and let live. They'll cut you down for things. They'll question what you do. They'll project onto you, and just start to make you feel like crap again. So the Hoover will come, the destruction will come, and the new supply, whether they stay together or not, who knows? But that new supply is going to start being empty. And it's really sad that, a lot of you sometimes want to warn the new supply. It's just going to make them think that you're crazy. They're not going to believe you because they have all this love bombing. And if they're not going to take your advice, it's not going to help. Is it going to get you back with the ex? Because now the ex is going to be ticked off that you're screwing with, messing up his image with the new supply. So just some things to think about. So please like and subscribe, and comment below. How long after you started getting your life together did the narcissist Hoover, and what did you do? I will see you soon. Have a good night.